All right, welcome everyone to the December meeting for the Portage Lakes Joint Vocational School District. Mr. Wright, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Chinaki?
Here.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Mr. Fauser?
Here.
Mr. Hercules?
Here.
Mr. Hofer?
Here.
Mrs. McGraw?
Here.
Mr. Petrie?
Here.
Mr. Jividen?
Here.
Mr. Campbell?
Here. So please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please find your seats here.
No visitors' comments, I don't believe this evening. All right, no need for executive session, is that correct?
Correct.
Did we change that? All right, perfect. And we'll move right to the treasurer's report. Mr. Wright.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a recommendation to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of November 16th, 2023 as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Hofer.
Second.
And thank you, Mr. Jividen. Mr. Wright.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 2 is a recommendation to approve the financial reports, check register, bank reconciliation, and comparative financial reports for the month of November 2023 as presented, subject to audit.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Shinaki and Mr. Petrie, or Mr. Fauser? Mr. Petrie and, Mr. Fauser.
Fauser. Okay.
Mr. Wright.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Item number 3 is a recommendation that the Board of Education set the organizational and regular meeting for January 18th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Cohen, thank you, Mrs. McGraw. And we don't need to do this on the 15th, prior to the 15th, that he.
That's no longer a
Okay,
requirement.
That's right.
Or JVSTs.
Right. I knew that. I was just testing. Mr. Wright.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 4 is a recommendation that the Board of Education approve Jason Jividen as President Pro Tem for Portage Lakes Career Center from January 1st, 2024 through the election of officers at the 2024 organizational meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Hofer.
Second.
And thank you, Mr. Hercules. Mr. Wright.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Hofer? Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
What am I?
That's fine. Motion passes.
Sure.
Item number 5 is the approval of a donation to the George Garman Scholarship from Todd Prinn family.
Wow.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Hercules.
Second.
And thank you, Mr. Jividen. Mr. Wright.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 6 is a recommendation that the board approve the resolution to correct practice to address audit deficiencies as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. McGraw. Thank you, Mr. Hofer. And would you mind providing, so we can do one of two things. What I'd like for this to be is we add that to the minutes. Just the basic write-up in terms of what was going on. Can we do that? Versus someone who would read this and not know
Sure.
what this was addressing. It doesn't have to be in any great detail.
Absolutely.
But I think it has to address, just like, there was.
The converting of incentive to.
There was
Yes.
an issue, we did this, employee was made whole.
Okay.
So that we're not
background of it.
Yes,
I'll-
like, things in the past when you would read what happened, it was
Right.
kind of like, oh, well,
Yeah.
what is this? And, yeah,
Sure.
then you'd have to go back.
We can definitely include pieces from the resolution in the minutes that'll help make that explanation clear.
Okay. Would the resolution be part of the minutes?
We can put the entire resolution in there.
Why don't we just do that?
If you'd like,
Yeah,
okay.
let's just do that. Is everybody okay with that?
We can do that.
I
Versus-
think
That makes sense.
the most
We can do that.
transparent, yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah, then that way it's
Yep,
right there,
we
and
can do that.
they make it for reference, and then it doesn't have to be.
And there's no need for anybody to go online and click on it to see the resolution. It'll just be part of the minutes, so we can do it that way.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And
Yes.
I think that keeps everybody, an employee as well as administration of the board.
Yes.
That's exactly where we need to be.
Yep, I
Okay.
agree, absolutely.
Great. Does anybody need more background on anything that was going on, or everything is good? Okay. Mr. Wright?
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
And Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent's report?
Yes. I have a few things before we dive into the agenda. As you know, we had 600 cars go through the Festival of Lights.
That is awesome.
The beauty is that there was no one waiting this year. We had some people who had to wait 45 minutes to an hour last year, but a change in the design got more through. And it was a great night. The weather was wonderful. No one froze horribly. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful night. And everyone, the 2 hours went so fast. A construction update. We're still meeting every 2 weeks. I believe in January, we will have for the board the design drawings for your approval. And then in February, the construction drawings in February for you to approve. We're still on track to start late February, early March, and be on time to have kids in there in the fall. So we're excited
Wow.
about that. We just had 100 students complete their driver's ed through PLCC. These are perhaps some students who may not have been able to get their driver's license, so that was very cool. And I previously mentioned that all of our juniors and all of our seniors have completed CPR and Stop the Bleed, which are also an industry-recognized credential for all of them. So that's a
And they get
wonderful.
the certification for that
Mhm.
also?
Yep, an industry record, yep. So they're, and 3 points, each of them are worth a point. So no matter what lab you're in, you get that. So it's a great, and a lifelong skill, a wonderful lifelong skill. So those are my updates.
Any
We'll
issues with the city, with the zoning or anything like that? I know
No,
went to
we
there.
had a pre-meeting, and then on January 3rd or 4th, we go again for a pre-meeting, and then on the 16th, we go for the formal one in the evening. You know, they have to ask some questions, and
Yeah.
the nice thing is, we're not doing a big major, like, you know, like a whole school, and the addition, you won't be able to tell that it happens,
Oh, right.
because it's just one wall that's going in. And then there was just a question about, were we taking into consideration the drainage of water? And we addressed that with the engineer. So they were a clean slate there. And Summit County, they're meeting with them as well, the
Okay.
building department too. So
All right.
I'm not involved in that. Okay. All right. Item number 2, disability leave. The teacher has been approved for SCRS disability, and I'm recommending that you approve the ability for him to go on disability.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Hofer.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Mr. Wright?
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 3, we have 2 resignations. I'm recommending that the board approve the resignations as listed.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chinaki.
Second.
And thank you, Mrs. McGraw. Any other comments or questions about them? All good?
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 4 are employment. The majority of the employment under adult education and high school, we are beginning to build a small little fleet of safety and security substitutes. So, for example, if someone is absent, then we have someone to take their place, and Lieutenant Saylor is training them and making sure they understand the PLCC way, and we feel very good about that opportunity. In addition, they're able to come for extra nights, such as awards night in May, some of our graduation, our adult ed graduations, and Festival of Lights. We had 3 of them working as well, so that was nice. Also, we have 2 practical nurse clinical instructors as part of the employment. So I'm recommending that the board approve these employment contracts.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Petrie, Mr. Hercules. So just a quick question.
Yes.
So when you see the adult ed and the high school limited piece, one is a per day and one's per hour, is
Yes.
there,
Well, for the full day, the high school, in case Lieutenant Saylor is sick, which he is not, and refuses to be. He was sick this week. So that's why they're for the day.
Okay.
And sometimes they're all active in area police departments, so it's who may be available. For the hourly, it's for the evening here, and they're all paid hourly.
okay, and do they have like a minimum 4-hour thing or anything like that? or-
So
so
the adult ed is typically 4 hours if they come, yeah.
Okay, but paid at that hourly
Yes,
rate?
yes.
Okay, gotcha. Mr. Wright?
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 5, the 24-25 school calendar. I'm happy to say that all 5 districts involved have the same winter and spring break, and that's always a big accomplishment for that to happen. So I'm recommending that the board approve the 24-25 school calendar.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Hofer.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Mr. Wright?
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 6, board policy updates. This is the second reading for all of them except for KGB, which has to do with addressing no person may use drugs on our campus, and including the new language of marijuana. So I'm recommending that the board approve the board policy updates listed above.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hofer. Mr. Jividen? Mr. Wright?
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 7, as part of the board policy and state law, we had to develop an emergency closing plan. All of our districts have or are in the process of doing so. We are very fortunate, as most of you are, that we have 8 days that we can play with to be closed before this plan would go into effect. I'm recommending that the board approve the attached emergency closing plan for the 23-24 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. McGraw. Thank you, Mr. Petrie. Mr. Wright?
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fauser?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 8, it's to authorize OSBA, who does our board policies for us, to review the policies and change all policies that say ODE and change it to Department of Education and Workforce.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr.
Second.
Hofer. For that very energetic.
Just wonder sometimes what's going on. I said something on Tuesday, and I was like, it's going
Columbus, what are they doing?
You may have to change it back in a year.
Right,
Yeah.
right, so they veto the whole thing.
Spans government, and I don't know what they're doing, so I just, and then our superintendent looked at me, I said, I'm being sarcastic, and she said, I got it.
Did you have the reindeer tie on when you were saying that? Or
I
was-
did.
There you go.
And I believe that was Mr. Fowler in the second. Is that
Yes.
right? Mr. Wright.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 9, we have various sponsorships and donations for the Festival of Lights. We often have cars go through and want to donate, and we do not take donations, but ahead of time, and we have a board policy that allows for us to do that. So I'm recommending that the board approve the Festival of Lights sponsorships and donations.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. McGraw. Mr. Wright?
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
My last item, number 10, equipment donations from Form Fire LLC to our Cyber Academy and Myers Tire Supply to our automotive technology programs. I'm recommending that the board approve those donations.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chinaki.
Second.
And thank you, Mr. Petrie. Mr. Wright?
Mr. Chinaki?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
Mr. Hercules?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Jividen?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Is that it?
That's it, sir.
Oh. Any new business to discuss or anything? I think we're good. Anybody like to bring any new business up? No? All right, board member informal. Mrs. McGraw, do you want to start us off, and then we'll just...
Short and sweet. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. All of it. Yeah, so
There you
everybody's
go.
safe while everybody's on, time off, including our teachers and staff and kids.
Thank you, Mr. Chinaki.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Admittedly, with this being my first year on the PLCC board, I didn't know what to expect and what the operation was all about, and I've been blown away from meeting with Ms. Redmond prior to serving on the board, and just through the months and the year, and seeing the programs and hearing the kids and hearing Mr. Clark, and it's just been incredible. So I just appreciate the opportunity, and I'm really looking forward and excited for what the future of PLCC holds, because I had no clue, and obviously this place is in our backyard, so it was nice to be involved with it, and I really appreciate it. And then to echo Ms. McGraw's comments, just happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I hope everyone stays safe and enjoys the time with family and friends, and really appreciates what the moment and the time is all about. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Chinaki. Mr. Cohen.
Oh, wow, you threw a curveball
I
there.
know. I saw you fading out.
Zigging and zagging.
I saw you fading out, but I bring you back to the fold here a little bit.
You didn't have to go first.
Just congratulations for a great first half of the year. The festival, it's amazing, just in 1 year, how many improvements you made and how many cars you got. And I think it's safe to say it's now going to be an annual tradition that people in the community are going to be looking forward to. So, happy holidays and Merry Christmas, everybody, and we'll see you next year.
Awesome. Mr. Hofer.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. I was remembering we're at funny time, Christmas.
An appropriate time.
Interesting that we have 100 new drivers on the road. So that's a goal that I know you've set out to do. Thank you for posting the construction thing so the community can see it through the TV. And have a Merry Christmas and have family, happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hofer. Mr. Hercules.
Merry Christmas to all of you and the staff of your schools and whatever other holidays you observe this season. And I think it will be a really exciting next year for the PLCC as well as our home district, both opening new buildings with lots of great new opportunities for students and staff. It will be very exciting. I look forward to that.
I just have to ask, who is this guy? I don't even recognize him. I did like a double take. I'm like, what?
Shaved off 20 years.
I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at you, I'm like, is that really Mr. Hercules? I did a double take, and like, is he a new guy from the next year?
I had 2 people in the last week that, until I spoke, they had no idea who I was.
I was like, does he wear a hat?
You managed to get all the kids
All I said
together.
to him from last month is, I said, oh, the kids came home.
Yes, yep.
I had 5 around, yep.
Oh, man. Mr. Petrie.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure serving with all of you. I hope that you have success in your districts, and again, here at PLCC, it was a real honor to serve, and I appreciate being with you all. The drive-in through the Festival of Lights was incredible, so keep that up. That's outstanding.
We'll miss you, Larry.
Thanks.
Yep.
And you too, Eric.
Thank you.
Mr. Fausen.
And two, just adding in with the rest of everybody, it's a nice feeling to come out and to be with people that are good people. It's nice to come out and just have the opportunity, as we mentioned earlier, the opportunity to serve and just observe what's going on and how well things can go on without having too many issues. We had a couple issues that we dealt with rather well this year, I thought, and talking about situations, but everything has been going so well. It's one of those knock on woods type of things. So Merry Christmas to all. And,
Thank you, Mr. Fausen.
have a great new year.
Mr. Jividen.
Yes, echoing happy holidays to everyone. Likewise, I love working with an organization that has not only its heart, but its head in the right place, and that seems to be the way things operate here. And I appreciate it every single month we come through and see more progress, see more development, see a better environment for the kids. So it's been great. And so I will let you know that from Manchester this year, joining us, we pulled a wily veteran out of the bullpen. So Rick Sponseller will be joining us. He's been on the board at Manchester for 22 years, I believe, or 23. This will be 23. So yeah, he's gonna come out and join us for the 2024. That's what I want to say.
But he's not that great of a veteran, because we just accepted the resignation of a teacher who's been teaching in Manchester for 58 years.
Yes.
50.
Wow.
Mr.
More than half a
Sponseller-
century.
Mr. Sponseller had her as a guidance counselor.
Oh my. Wow. Her first year was 1965.
Wow.
When was it?
1965.
Oh,
I was
my
6
Lord.
years old.
I wasn't born.
I thought you were going to say that's when you first started growing your beard.
Yeah, that's what it is, but I wasn't born. Mr. Campbell.
It'll be good to welcome him back. Number one, thank you for everyone for the great year. I apologize. I think I've missed more meetings this year than I have like in all the years that I've been there, and it's just been a crazy schedule for me. But obviously, when you hire the right people and you're under great leadership, then we just we kind of just need to step back and allow them to work, of course, with an eye on them. But no, the improvements are great. There's a lot of crazy things that happened this year. Both with the school and with some personnel. People have had. We've all known people who've had health issues and everything. And I think it's the time of the year that you just be, grateful for being here and being able to spend time with your family. It's, I have a new appreciation of that with my grandson. I mention him all the time, sorry.
Yeah.
But, well, I'm really not sorry.
You should.
But it's one of those where you really do get a whole different perspective on, exactly what it is. That's the driver of this whole thing. And time's one of those things that you can never get back. And here, I'm wasting everybody's time now, but it's this next year is going to be amazing, with you guys opening buildings, and our buildings will start to take shape and follow you guys a year after that. So we certainly appreciate that. And I think, one of the things with PLCC is that you try to do everything right. Sometimes, something happens, but we address it the right way, and and, you know, we all do it, everybody understands it, and you move forward, and I think that's one of the things that this administration is really, can put a, you know, certainly a feather in their cap for doing that, so we appreciate that. With that, January 18th, right, is
Yes,
the
sir.
next meeting? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Everybody said yes.
All right, we're adjourned at 6:26 PM.
All right, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you.
I see the resolution.